We're going to talk about the three different coverages that we are going to run out of tight alignment. And we'll also talk about our trips coverages. Okay, so our first one is Palms. Um, this is a cover two. It's also a cover four. Kind of depends on who you ask. The corner we call this Navy. Okay, so I'll kind of just walk through the linebackers first, and then we'll go through the corner and the safeties. All right. So the Sam, your responsibility is the flats. Okay. So you're going to be coming out here. You're also responsible for rerouting the number two. Okay. So if this Y runs a route, all right, we expect you to get out and get hands on him to reroute him. This is called running the hump. Force him to run the hump, slow him down, and just reroute him. Okay. After that, you get into the flats. All right. The Mike and the Will, you're both hook to curl guys. And similarly, we want you rerouting any crossers. Okay. So if this Y comes across, we expect you to get in, get hands on him, make him run the hump. Okay. So you're hook to curl, and any crossers, then we want you rerouting them. Okay, Zeke, you're the same as the Sam. All right. So you're going to be out here. You're going to flat. Your zone is the flat, and but you're also going to reroute any the number two. Okay. So if the number two, runs sort of slant, you're going to come in and reroute him. All right. Okay. So that takes care of the linebackers. One thing I want to point out, or no, let's actually get to the Palms read. Okay. Palms is also known as read two. Okay. So if this is the number one receiver, this is the number two receiver. Okay. So we have a corner here and a safety and the Spartan here. Okay. So the corner is either going to cover the number one or the number two. And then the Spartan is going to either cover the number one or number two. Who they cover depends on what the number two does. Okay. That's why it's called read two. So once we read pass, your eyes are going to be on this number two to see what the number two does. Okay. First thing we need to know is our vertical landmark is 5 yards. Okay. Why is that important? Here's our 5 yard mark. Once the Y or the number two crosses 5 yards, he's considered vertical. Okay. And so that'll make more sense as we go through the rules. Okay. So all the rules are up here. There's only four. Okay. So let's go through them. If number two breaks vertical, then corner will cover number one and Spartan will cover number two. Okay. So let's just do a simple route where the number two goes vertical and the number one goes vertical. Okay. The moment this number two crosses 5 yards, it's the Sam's responsibility to cover the number two, and it's the corner's responsibility to cover the number one. All right. It does not matter. Okay. It does not matter what the number two does after that. All right. So let's say that the number two is going to run something like that. The moment he crosses this 5 yards, that's the Spartan. Let's say they're running like some sort of crossing route. Okay. Corner, you have the number one the moment the number two crosses 5 yards. So you have to go cover number one. Okay. So that's our first rule. Our first rule is if number two breaks vertical, then corner will cover number one and Spartan will cover number two. Okay. Our second rule, if number two breaks outside, then the corner will jump the flat and cover number two, and Spartan will cover number one. Okay. So if the corner does this, notice how it's before the landmark, before 5 yards. Corner, you got to go get that. Let's say the X is doing something out here. Spartan, you got to go get that. Okay. So if number two breaks outside, and it could be this too as well. Okay. Let's say they're doing some sort of one of these routes. The Y is broken outside, so you're going to jump there, and the Spartan, you're going to come up here. Okay. Now let's do a little bit harder one. Let's say that this number 2 crosses the landmark and then breaks outside. Let's say that X is running some sort of slant. This Y is considered vertical here. So Spartan, you would come cover number 2. Corner, you would stay with number 1. Okay. It's only if the Y breaks outside before this 5-yard mark. These are all the routes that the number 1 is going to pick up. Okay. All right. Now, if the number 2 breaks inside, okay, then the corner, if number 2 breaks inside, then corner will cover number 1 and Spartan will cover number 2. Okay. So let's say that we get a slant here. Okay. It's double slant. This is an inside break. All right. So Spartan, you're on number 1. Corner, you're on number 2. Excuse me. Spartan, you're on number 2. Corner, you're on number 1. Okay. Real simple. All right. Okay. Let's go to this final rule. If number 2 breaks inside of front of linebackers, then corner will cover number 1. And Spartan will check backside number 2 post and number 1 dig. Okay. So this is if they run like this little drag route here. Okay. Corner, you're going to immediately take number 1. And then Spartan, you're going to do one of 3 things. Okay. First thing, your eyes are going to go all the way over to this number 2 on the backside. If this number 2 runs a post, you're going to fox the post. What that means is they run a post, you're going to come intercept this ball. Okay. Now, if the number 2 doesn't run a post, okay, let's say they run like some sort of out route. Now your eyes are going to come back to this number 1, and you're going to be looking for this dig route in here. If the quarterback throws this, you're just going to come intercept it. Okay. Now, let's say that, so you go through your first read. Okay. So the Y comes here. So you fox the post. All right. So you get your eyes on number 2, but he runs this. Okay. Now you got to get your eyes to number 1, but number 1 is over here. Now what do? Now you look for work. Okay. Okay. Now you are free to rob. You are truly free. So I want your eyes, your vision to go to the quarterback, and you read his shoulders and eyes. Okay. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if this D is coming across the field. I don't know if this A is running some sort of a Texas route. You just go find something to do. Okay. You read this quarterback's eyes and shoulders and you go make a play. All right. Okay. So when there are 2 split wide receivers, that is cover 2 palms. All right. We are all reading this number 2 right here. Okay. Both sides. You're reading the number 2. All right. Let me just talk about one more thing. And this is called delivering. Okay. So let's say this number 2 is going to run this shallow inside route. Okay. We know we want the Sam to reroute. Okay. And then the Sam, you're going to cover this Y until the edge of your zone. And then you're going to get back out to the flat. Okay. You're going to pass this to the Mike. Now the Mike is going to reroute, make him run the bump. Mike's going to do the same thing. The Mike is going to cover this route to the edge of his zone and then pass him to the Will. All right. And then the Will is gonna get a reroute, make him run the bump, and do the same to the edge of his route or to the edge of his zone, and then he's gonna pass him to the Zeke. Now, why do we do that? Okay, because we don't want something like this to happen. Okay, let's say the X runs a go route, the corner goes with him. Let's say that the H runs a post, so we're going to fox the post. Okay. Let's just say hypothetically this is some sort of, hitch route. So we're going to be in here, and they're just going to run this little drag. But at the same time, they're going to run this route. Okay. You need to pass the Y to the mic so that you can get back out to your flat to cover this A. Same thing with the mic. Okay. You need to pass that route to the will so you can get back out to your hook to curl zone. All right. Okay. So let's look at next slide. Uh, the progression changes if the number 2 is attached. Okay. So if the number 2 is attached, your alignment is the same. Okay. Or no, your the bandit's alignment is different, and so is the corner. So you'll see over here, the number 2 is split. So we're just gonna run our normal cover 2 palms. The corner is outside number 1 at 4 yards. The Spartan is inside number 2 at 8 yards. We're just gonna follow our rules. Okay, we're gonna read number 2. Okay. When the number 2 is attached, okay, the corner is going to come line up inside number 1 on the line of scrimmage, and you are going to meg this number 1. Meg means man-to-man coverage. It also means man everywhere he goes. Okay. So no matter where this Z goes, no matter what route he runs, okay, you are man-to-man. All right. Same thing with the bandit. The bandit's coverage changes as well. You are now outside the number 2. Okay. Outside the number 2 because the number 2 is attached, and you're going to meg number 2. All right. So I don't even know how I did that. Okay. So no matter where this number 2 goes, if he runs an out route here, he runs a corner route here, okay, something like that, you're going to go get him. Okay. The only exception to this rule, again, is if this number 2 runs a shallow inside route, if it breaks inside of the linebackers. Okay. If the Y breaks inside of the linebackers, then the linebackers are just going to pass them off, and you are going to fox the post, looks for this inside dig, and then read the quarterback. Okay. Let's talk about differences also over here. Remember, anytime the number 2 is attached, the outside linebacker, whether it's the Sam or the Zeke, you are on the line of scrimmage um, in a 7-tech, and your job is to reroute number 2. So you're going to chip or jam this guy on the line of scrimmage. Okay. So the beauty of this coverage, guys, if you look, is this is why it's called split field. Okay. Because we're splitting the field in half. All right. The number 2 is split on this side. So they're just going to run their normal cover 2 reads. Okay. But on the other side of the field, the number 2 is attached. So now the corner is going to meg number 1 and the bandit is going to meg number 2. Okay. Now what happens here if this Y pass sets? Okay. If he stays in for max protection, same thing applies. Okay. Your eyes are going to go to the number 2 to fox the post. If there's no post, your eyes go back to number 1 to look for this dig. Okay. If there's no dig, then your eyes go to the quarterback. You read the eyes and shoulders of the quarterback. All right. That is cover 2 palms.